The little alien was trembling. Her tiny body hid behind the shadow of a wooden chair, her big round eyes watching the giants who walked across the room. To her, they were monsters. Their feet shook the floor like thunder. Their voices rumbled like storms. Every movement made her heart beat faster. She had not planned to be here. Her small ship had fallen through the night sky, broken, smoking, and silent. She had crash-landed on a strange blue planet the locals called Earth. She thought she would die in the forest, but instead she had crawled, weak and frightened, into the nearest shelter. That shelter, unfortunately, was a human house. Now here she was, stuck inside the den of giants. The alien had heard stories from her people, stories about humans. They were hunters, destroyers, and eaters of flesh. Huge creatures with sharp teeth and endless hunger. The old tale said, "If a human sees you, they will devour you without mercy." And now she believed the stories were true. From her hiding place, she could see them. Two humans in the room, one tall with dark hair tied back, the other shorter, their voice soft but deep. They were moving around a large table covered with strange objects. Sharp metal tools clinked and scraped. Bright light shone above them, throwing long shadows that looked like claws. The alien pressed her tiny hands over her mouth to stop a cry. She watched as the taller human lifted a long silver knife. The blade flashed and then chop! Chop, chop! It cut through something on the table. The sound was so sharp, so violent that the alien nearly screamed. She thought, "They are cutting another creature. Soon they will come for me." She dared to peek closer. Red juice spilled across the board. It looked like blood. Her stomach turned and she ducked back down. Her small heart raced so fast she thought it would break her chest. The shorter human laughed. The sound shook her bones. To them it was only laughter. To her it was the cruel laugh of a monster enjoying its meal. She whispered to herself, "Please don't find me. Please don't devour me." But her luck was thin. The giant knife dropped onto the table with a heavy sound. The taller human reached out and the alien saw a shadow fall across the floor. The hand was moving closer, closer, until it stopped just a few steps away from her hiding spot. Huge fingers opened and closed like the jaws of a beast. The alien held her breath. If they bent down, they would see her. It would be the end. She thought of running. But where? The door was shut, the window too high. The floor stretched wide like an open desert. She would never make it. Her legs shook, frozen in place. Then the smell hit her. A strong, smoky scent filled the air. Something was burning, sizzling on a hot surface. The humans were cooking. She had never smelled such a thing before. It was heavy, sharp, and almost sweet. To her, it smelled like roasted alien flesh. Her mind screamed, "They are preparing their feast." Her chest ached with fear. Her people had always warned her, humans eat everything smaller than them. And she was very, very small. The giant voices grew louder. The humans spoke to each other, but she could not understand their words. The tones were strange, deep, and frightening. To her, it sounded like a plan, like a dark chant. Catch the little one, roast the little one, eat the little one. Tears stung her eyes. She curled into herself, whispering, "Not me, not me, not me." Suddenly, a new sound filled the air. Footsteps, soft, quick footsteps. Another human entered the room. This one was smaller than the other two. A child. But to the alien, even a child was a giant compared to her tiny form. The child's voice was high and curious. The alien shivered. Was this the trap? Would the little one find her first? The child's head turned, scanning the floor. For a moment, the alien thought she was safe. But then, those big eyes stopped. They widened. The child had seen something, the alien gasped. She knew it. She was discovered. The child let out a loud, sharp sound. Not quite a scream, but enough to make the taller humans look down. The alien froze like a stone. Every giant head in the room was turning toward her hiding place. This was it. The alien's tiny mind screamed, "They will grab me now. They will roast me alive. I will be their dinner tonight." She pressed herself against the wood of the chair, wishing to melt into the floor, wishing she had never left her ship, wishing the stars would take her back. The shadow grew larger as the child bent down. A huge hand stretched forward. The alien closed her eyes tight, whispering one last desperate prayer. "Please, please don't devour me." And then, the story cuts off, leaving the audience in suspense for what happens next. The child's hand hung in the air, reaching closer and closer. The tiny alien's whole body shook like a leaf in the wind. She shut her eyes tight, expecting pain, expecting claws, expecting to be lifted and thrown into a pot of boiling water. But nothing happened. Instead, the alien felt a soft thud near her feet. Slowly, she dared to open one eye. Right there on the wooden floor lay a piece of bread, golden, fluffy, warm steam still rising from it. The child was smiling, pushing the bread forward as if offering a gift. The alien did not understand. Why give food to something you plan to eat later? Was this part of the cruel ritual? Feed the prey, fatten it up, and then feast? Her mind raced. She stared at the bread, then at the child's curious eyes. The child whispered something in a gentle tone. The words were strange and heavy, but the sound was not violent. It was soft, almost like music. Still, fear chained her heart. She scurried backward, bumping into the leg of the chair. The giants laughed. To them it was the laugh of kindness, but to her it was the laugh of hunters amused by their prey. She thought, "They are playing with me. They are enjoying my fear." The bread sat untouched, its scent floating through the air. Her stomach twisted with hunger. It had been 2 days since she had eaten anything after the crash. Yet she fought the urge. She whispered, "No. It's a trick. They want me weak. They want me slow." The child frowned when the alien didn't touch the bread. Then with small fingers, the child broke the bread in half. One piece was pushed closer. The other piece went into the child's mouth. The little giant chewed happily, showing there was no poison, no trap. The alien blinked. Confusion filled her. If this bread was safe for the child, then maybe, just maybe, it was not dangerous. She crept forward inch by inch, still shaking. Her tiny hand stretched out. Carefully, she tore off a crumb smaller than her fingertip. She sniffed it. Warm, soft, harmless. She placed it in her mouth. The taste exploded across her tongue. It was light, fluffy, and strangely sweet. Nothing like the harsh rations of her homeworld. For a moment, she forgot her fear. For a moment, her eyes widened with wonder. But then reality struck her again. She remembered the tales. Humans fatten creatures before slaughter. The bread was bait, nothing more. She pushed the rest away and darted back into the shadows, her heart racing. The taller humans spoke again, their voices filling the air. To her ears, their words sounded like thunder. She thought she heard them say, "Catch it. Keep it, cook it." Her chest tightened. Yes, she thought, this is their plan. The child found me, but they want to wait. They want to make me trust them first. That night, when the house grew dark, the alien did not sleep. She climbed quietly onto a shelf near the window, her glowing eyes staring into the human world. She saw strange machines shining with light. She saw humans carrying bags of food, boxes of bottles, and sharp tools. Every action seemed terrifying. A woman biting into an apple looked like a beast tearing flesh. A man pouring water into a glass looked like a potion master preparing poison. Even the simple act of lighting a fire on the stove made her think of a ritual of death. Her mind refused to believe kindness. Every sound, every laugh, every step of the giants told her the same story. You are prey. They are waiting. The next morning, the child returned. Again, small pieces of bread were offered, this time with something new, fruit. A red, shiny orb the size of the alien's head. The child held it out with both hands, smiling wide. The alien's stomach growled. Hunger was stronger now. She tried to resist, but the smell was sweet, pulling her closer. She grabbed a small bite, her teeth sinking into the fruit. Juice spilled down her chin. It was the most delicious thing she had ever tasted. For a moment, she almost forgot where she was. Almost forgot the fear. Almost forgot the stories, but then she heard the tall humans behind the child. Their voices were loud. Their shadows fell across the floor. The alien panicked. She dropped the fruit and fled under the couch, her tiny legs moving faster than ever. From there, she watched the giant's feet. Huge, heavy, like mountains walking. Her mind whispered, they are planning. They are pretending to be kind, but soon they will strike. She curled into herself, her eyes wet with silent tears. The fear had grown even stronger now because there was something new inside her. Doubt. Part of her wanted to believe the child's gift was real. Part of her wanted to believe not all humans were monsters, but another part, louder, sharper, kept saying, trust them and you will end up in their pot. And so, she waited, caught between hunger and terror, kindness and fear. The misunderstanding was far from over. The tiny alien had survived another night. Curled beneath the couch, she had not dared to sleep deeply. Every creak of the wooden floor, every groan of the walls felt like the growl of a predator. Her glowing eyes stayed half open, ready to dart away if a shadow moved too close. By dawn, hunger was gnawing at her again. She tried to ignore it, but her little body betrayed her. A low growl rumbled from her stomach. She pressed her hands over it, terrified the humans might hear. The smell of food soon filled the air once more. Warm, heavy, rich. She peeked from her hiding place and saw the giants moving again in the kitchen. They tore open bags, clattered pans, and placed food onto hot fire. She shivered. Another feast, she thought. And soon I will be the main dish. Then the child returned. The smallest giant, the one who had offered her bread and fruit. The child looked around the room, searching. The alien froze. She knew the look in those big eyes. The child was hunting her. The child dropped to their knees and peered beneath the couch. The alien gasped and scrambled backward, bumping into dust and lost crumbs. For 1 second, their eyes met. Enormous, bright human eyes staring at her tiny glowing ones, the child shouted. A sharp cry. Not angry, not cruel, just surprised. But to the alien, it was the signal of capture. She bolted. Her tiny legs carried her out the other side of the couch. She darted across the floor as fast as a spark. The humans all turned. Huge shadows stretched across the walls as their voices rose. Thunderous, booming, terrifying. The child pointed and ran after her. The taller humans followed, their heavy feet shaking the floor. The alien's heart raced. She dashed toward the stairs, the only path she could find. Each step was taller than her whole body, but she leapt, scrambled, climbed with desperate energy. She could hear them behind her, the giant footsteps, the breath of hunters closing in. Halfway up, her tiny foot slipped. She nearly tumbled backward, but she caught herself on the edge of the step. Her claws scraped the wood. She pulled herself up again and kept running. At the top of the stairs, she ducked into the first room she saw. A bedroom. Huge bed, soft carpet, tall shelves, no escape. Her glowing eyes searched wildly for cover. She darted under the bed, panting, her chest heaving with fear. The humans entered moments later. Their voices filled the air, speaking fast and loud. The child crouched, peeking under the bed. Their face lit up when they saw her again. The alien's heart sank. She was cornered. The child stretched out a hand once more. A gentle hand, small compared to the others, but to her it was still the size of a mountain. The hand came closer, fingers open, palm soft. Please, the alien whispered, her tiny voice trembling. Don't devour me. She squeezed her eyes shut, expecting to be snatched. But instead, the child placed something on the floor again. A piece of candy, bright shiny wrapper glowing in the light. The sweet smell drifted toward her nose. The child smiled, not with hunger, but with kindness. The alien opened her eyes, confused. She tilted her head, staring at the candy. Her stomach roared again. The smell was tempting, pulling her closer. But she stayed still, trembling, torn between hunger and terror. The taller humans stepped forward. Their shadows loomed across the floor. Their voices boomed, worried and warning. The child shook their head, waving the bigger giants back as if to say, wait, don't scare it. The alien's mind twisted. She thought, why does the small one protect me? Why do the large ones hold back? For a moment, doubt slipped through her fear. For a moment, she almost believed the child was not her hunter. But then, the sound came, a crash downstairs. A sharp, violent noise. The adults shouted and rushed out of the room, leaving only the child behind. The alien panicked, thinking, it is a trap. They left the smallest one to catch me. The child inched closer. The hand stretched again, slower this time, gentle. The alien shrieked, a sound so high only she could hear. She darted sideways out from under the bed, racing for the door. The child gasped and followed, but she was faster this time. She squeezed beneath the dresser, hiding in the dark. Her body shook, her chest burned, but she was alive. The child knelt near the dresser, peeking in the shadows. They placed the candy on the floor again and whispered something soft. Words the alien did not understand, but words filled with warmth. She hugged her knees to her chest, eyes wide, whispering to herself. Why? Why do they feed me? Why not catch me? Why not end it? The child waited for a long time, then sighed and left the candy behind. Their footsteps faded as they walked away. The alien crawled slowly toward the shiny wrapper. Her claws touched it, trembling. She sniffed it, then licked the sugar that clung to her fingers. Her whole body shook, not just from fear, but from confusion. She had survived the close call. She had not been eaten. She had been given food again. Her mind was a storm now. Half of her whispered, they are monsters. They are playing with you. The other half whispered, the child is kind. The child does not want to hurt you. She did not know which voice to believe. So she curled back into the shadows, clutching the candy, her heart pounding. The misunderstanding was growing deeper, and the real test had not even begun. The tiny alien sat in the shadows, clutching the sweet candy with both trembling hands. She had licked it once, and her tongue still tingled with sugar. Never in her life had she tasted something so strange, so bright, so alive. It was not poison. It was not bitter. It was delightful. And yet fear did not leave her. Fear never left. She pressed her back against the cold wall under the dresser, her wide eyes staring into the dark. The child had offered her the sweet, yes, but why? Why feed prey you mean to eat? It made no sense. The night passed slowly. Outside, the wind howled. Inside, the house creaked. The humans moved about, their voices rolling like thunder. Every sound made her jump. She barely slept. When morning came, the sunlight slipped through the window and touched the candy in her hand. It sparkled, glowing as if alive. Her hunger was too strong now. She chewed the sweet carefully, expecting pain. Instead, her small mouth filled with sugar and fruit flavor. For the first time since crashing on Earth, her stomach felt full. She whispered to herself, "Not poison, not trap." But the doubt stayed. Later, the child returned. Alone this time. The alien peeked from under the dresser, ready to run. But the child did not chase. Instead, the child sat on the floor, cross-legged, leaving space between them. A small plate rested in their lap. On it, tiny pieces of bread, slices of fruit, and a cup of water. The alien froze. Her stomach twisted again, wanting the food, but her mind screamed, "It is bait. Don't trust it." The child picked up a piece of bread and ate it first, then a slice of fruit, then drank the water. The child smiled, showing the food was safe. Then slowly, the plate was placed on the floor. The child pushed it toward the dresser. The alien pressed her hands over her chest. She whispered, "Why? Why feed me if you want to eat me later?" Minutes passed. The child did not move, only watched. Gentle, patient, finally hunger won. The alien crept forward, each step slow as a heartbeat. She grabbed a crumb of bread and darted back into the dark. She tasted it, warm, soft, harmless. Her heart ached with relief. The child giggled softly. To the alien, it sounded less like the cruel laugh of a hunter, more like the laugh of joy. The alien returned. This time she took a slice of fruit. Sweet juice ran down her chin. Her eyes watered, not from fear, but from the taste. It was so different from the dry rations of her home. She almost smiled, but then she stopped herself. Smiling was dangerous. Smiling meant trust. She sat in the shadows again, chewing. The child whispered words. Strange, heavy words she did not understand, but the tone was soft, almost like singing. The alien tilted her head. She had never heard a monster speak like that. Still, her fear did not vanish. That evening, as the sun set, she crawled to the window and looked out. She saw humans walking together on the street, carrying bags, holding hands, sharing food. No one was devouring each other. No one was screaming. Her thoughts twisted. Are all the stories wrong? But then she remembered the tall humans with knives, the sizzling sound of fire, the red juice spilling on the table. She remembered her people's warnings. Never trust the giants. They smile, but they bite. The doubt grew heavier. The next day, the child brought something new, a tiny toy. A little ball that flashed with light when touched. The alien stared in awe. It glowed like the stars. The child rolled it gently toward the dresser. The alien hesitated. Then, against her own fear, she reached out and touched it. The ball lit up in her hands. The light danced across her face. For the first time, she laughed, a small, soft laugh she didn't even mean to let out. The child clapped, delighted. The alien froze. She slapped her hand over her mouth, ashamed. What have I done? I showed joy. I showed trust. Now they will know I am weak. She pushed the ball away and darted back into the shadows, but inside something had changed. For the first time, she had laughed. For the first time, she had eaten without fear of poison. For the first time, she had wondered if maybe, just maybe, humans were not monsters. Yet the terror was still stronger. She whispered to herself, rocking back and forth. They are waiting. They are kind now, but soon they will strike. Still, her eyes kept drifting toward the door, toward the child, toward the plate of food, the toy, the smile. Her heart was a battlefield. Fear on one side, hope on the other, and she did not know which side would win. The days passed slowly. The alien remained hidden in the corners of the human house, always afraid, always whispering to herself, Don't trust them. Don't trust the giants, and yet, she could not ignore the child's kindness. Each morning the child returned with food, crumbs of bread, fruit, even a little cheese. Sometimes the child left a toy that made lights or music. The alien never came too close, but every time she tasted the food, every time she touched the toys, her fear grew weaker. Still, doubt never left. It clung to her heart like a shadow. One evening, while the sky outside burned orange and red, the alien crept closer to the window. She wanted to see the humans on the street again. Maybe she could learn more about their world. But this time, something else was waiting. A sharp cry came from outside, a screeching sound high and wild. The alien pressed her face to the glass. Her tiny heart froze. There in the yard stood a huge animal, larger than the human's child, with sharp teeth glinting in the fading light. Its fur was bristled, its eyes glowing yellow. The alien knew predators when she saw them. And this was one. The beast prowled closer to the house, sniffing, growling. It stopped near the open door, teeth bared. The alien whispered to herself, "Monster. Another monster." The child was in the yard, only steps away from the beast. The child laughed, thinking it was a playful creature. But the alien could see the truth. The animal's body low, its muscles tense, ready to strike. Her small voice shook. "Run. Run away, little giant." But the child didn't understand. The alien scrambled along the window ledge, desperate, helpless. She wanted to shout louder, but her voice was too small. Her people had never faced predators this size. She had no weapons, no strength. And then the beast lunged, the child screamed. The alien gasped, her hands covering her mouth. She expected blood. She expected the beast to devour the child whole. But before it could, the taller humans burst through the door. Their voices roared like thunder, their arms waving sticks and shining tools. One threw something heavy, a stone perhaps. Another shouted, their voice deep and powerful. The beast stopped, growled, and snapped its teeth. For a moment, the alien thought it would fight. But then it turned, tail whipping, and fled into the shadows. The child sobbed. The taller humans rushed to scoop the child into their arms, holding them tight. The alien's heart pounded. She had just seen it with her own eyes. The humans had risked themselves. They had fought the predator not for food, not for fun, but to protect their young. She pressed her tiny hands against the window, trembling. Why would monsters protect each other? Why would they fight danger, not run? That night she could not rest. The image of the human standing between the beast and the child burned inside her mind. It did not fit the stories she had been told. Monsters did not protect. Monsters only devoured. The next day, danger returned again. But this time for her. The alien had crept from her hiding place to drink water from a small bowl left on the floor. She did not know it was meant for the human's pet. Another animal, smaller than the beast outside, but still large compared to her. The pet was a cat. Golden eyes glowed in the dark. Silent paws crept closer. Before she realized it, the cat pounced, she screamed. Tiny legs scrambled. Sharp claws scraped the floor inches behind her. The cat hissed, hungry, wild. She darted beneath the couch, but the cat's paw followed, swiping close to her head. She was trapped. She thought, this is the end. I will be devoured not by the giants, but by their beast. Suddenly, footsteps. The child's voice. The couch lifted slightly as the cat was pulled away. The child scolded the animal, their voice firm. The cat meowed in protest, but was carried out of the room. The alien lay frozen under the couch, her tiny chest heaving. Her hands shook. Her mind spun. The child had saved her. Not once. Not twice. But now again she curled into herself, whispering, Why? Why protect me? Why not let the beast eat me if I'm only prey? The child returned later, sliding a piece of fruit under the couch. The alien stared at it, her eyes wide. Her body trembled, not from fear, but from something new. Something she had never felt before. Could it be trust? She crept forward and took the fruit. This time she did not run back into the dark. She sat in the open, only a few steps from the child, and ate. Her glowing eyes never left the child's face. The child smiled. No sharp teeth, no cruel laughter. Just a smile. And for the first time, the alien wondered, maybe the monsters are not monsters at all. The tiny alien sat near the edge of the couch, her glowing eyes fixed on the child. A piece of fruit rested in her hands, its sweet juice dripping down her chin. For the first time, she did not run when the human looked at her. For the first time, she stayed. The child smiled, small and gentle. They did not reach forward this time. They did not try to grab her. They only watched, as if happy to see her eat. The alien's heart thudded in confusion. Her people had always said humans were destroyers, monsters who took and consumed everything. But here was a human child offering food, saving her from danger, protecting her from the house beast. It did not make sense. That night, she crept to the window again. She watched as the tall humans gathered at the table. They placed food on plates, steaming and warm. They spoke to each other, voices soft, sometimes loud, but never cruel. She saw them pass dishes, share bites, laugh together. She thought of her own people far away among the stars. They too had sat together, shared meals, laughed in their small homes. Her chest tightened. Could it be the same? But then her memory cut like a knife. She remembered the tall human with the flashing silver blade. She remembered the red juice dripping down the board. She remembered her terror. She whispered to herself, "They eat, they kill. They must." The next day, she saw something that shook her even more. The humans brought in a basket filled with food from outside. They placed fruit, vegetables, and bread on the table. She expected them to bring in bones, meat, creatures torn apart. But most of it was plants. Bright colors, green and red and yellow. The child picked up an apple and bit into it, juice spilling. The alien stared, wide-eyed. No blood, no cries of pain. Just fruit. Her thoughts twisted again. They eat, but not everything. Not all life. Maybe only certain things. Maybe not me? Later that afternoon, she dared to crawl closer to the kitchen door. She crouched in the shadows, watching as the taller humans cooked. Yes, they cut with sharp knives, but not always meat. Sometimes bread, sometimes vegetables, and when they ate, they did not look like monsters at all. They looked happy, together. Her fear cracked just a little. Still, doubt whispered in her mind. What if they make exceptions? What if small aliens are rare delicacies? That evening, when the house grew quiet, she wandered further than ever before. Her tiny legs carried her up onto a low shelf, closer to where the child kept toys and books. She touched one of the books. The cover showed drawings of animals, some big, some small. She flipped through, her tiny fingers clumsy. The pictures shocked her. The book did not show humans devouring animals. Instead, it showed humans feeding them, caring for them. Cats curled in laps, dogs walking on leashes, birds perched on fingers. Her glowing eyes widened. She whispered, "Pets, not prey." She remembered the child pulling the cat away when it attacked her. She remembered the gentle scolding voice. Could it be that humans protected small creatures? Her heart pounded. When morning returned, the child came back with another gift, a small glass of water placed carefully near the floor. The alien stepped out slowly, trembling. She dipped her hands in the cool liquid, then sipped. The child did not move, only smiled. For the first time, the alien felt something strange, something warmer than fear. It was small, fragile, but real. Trust. That afternoon, while the child napped, the alien crawled closer than ever before. She stood near the child's pillow, her tiny body shaking with nerves. She studied the human's face. Peaceful, soft, not sharp, not cruel. The child's hand rested nearby, fingers open. She dared to touch it. Just one fingertip against the skin. Warm. Alive. Gentle. The child stirred but did not wake. The alien pulled back, gasping softly. Her chest ached, but not with terror. With something else she did not yet understand. That night she looked at the stars through the window. She whispered, maybe the stories were wrong, maybe. They are not monsters. But still, her fear lingered. She was not ready to reveal herself fully. Not yet. Her mind was a storm, half filled with doubt, half filled with hope. The misunderstanding was beginning to break, and the truth was almost within reach. The little alien sat by the window that night, her glowing eyes fixed on the stars. Somewhere out there, her people were far away, safe and still afraid of humans. She thought of their warnings, their stories. Never trust the giants. They smile, but then they devour. But here, in this small human home, she had seen something different. She had seen the child share food instead of taking it. She had seen the tall humans fight beasts to protect their young. She had seen laughter, play, and warmth, not cruelty. Her mind whispered, they are not monsters. Her heart whispered, but what if you are wrong? The battle inside her grew too heavy to carry. She could no longer hide forever. If she stayed in the shadows, she would live in fear until fear destroyed her. She needed to know the truth. So that night she made her choice. When the house grew quiet, she crept into the kitchen. A small lamp glowed above the table. The tall humans sat together, speaking softly. The child was with them, curled in a chair, half asleep. The alien's tiny legs shook as she stepped out of the shadows. For the first time, she walked into the open. Every step felt like walking into fire. Her heart pounded so loudly she thought the humans must hear it. At first, no one noticed. But then the child lifted their sleepy head and saw her. The child's eyes widened, but not in fear. In wonder. They smiled and whispered softly, pointing. The tall humans turned. The alien froze in the middle of the floor, her glowing eyes wide. 3 giants all staring at her. This was it. The moment she had dreaded since the crash. She whispered to herself, "Please, please don't devour me," but no hand reached to grab her. No knife flashed. No roar shook the air. Instead, the humans gasped. Their faces filled not with hunger, but with awe. One of them covered their mouth, whispering something too quiet for the alien to understand. The other leaned forward slowly, their eyes shining with surprise. The child slid down from the chair and crawled toward her, moving gently, slowly, so as not to frighten her. They placed a piece of fruit on the floor between them, then sat back, waiting. The alien trembled. Her mind screamed, "Trap." But her heart whispered, "Trust." She stepped forward. One tiny step, then another. She picked up the fruit, staring into the child's eyes. No cruelty, only kindness. She bit the fruit. Sweet juice spilled, and for the first time she smiled openly. The humans gasped again, but this time with joy. The child clapped softly, delighted. The alien tilted her head, confused. She spoke in her tiny voice words they could not understand. "You are not monsters." The humans leaned closer, whispering among themselves. They did not know her language, but they understood her tone, her trembling voice, her shining eyes. The child reached out a hand, palm open, waiting. No force, no demand, just an offer. The alien's heart raced. Slowly, carefully, she placed her tiny hand in the child's palm. Warm, gentle, safe. And in that moment, the last wall of fear inside her crumbled. She looked up at the giants, her eyes wet with tears. All this time she had hidden, trembling in shadows, certain they wanted to devour her. But the truth was different. The truth was simple. Humans were not monsters. They were protectors. They were friends. They were family. For the first time since crashing on Earth, the alien felt no fear, only hope. The child lifted her gently, holding her as if she were the most precious thing in the world. The tall humans leaned close, smiling, their eyes full of wonder. They spoke softly, carefully, as if afraid to scare her away. The alien whispered again, though they could not understand. "I was wrong about you. So very wrong." She looked once more at the stars outside the window. She thought of her people, still afraid, still hiding. She hoped one day she could tell them the truth, that humans were not devourers, that humans were not monsters, that humans were something greater. The tiny alien closed her eyes, safe in the child's hand, and for the first time, she allowed herself to rest. The misunderstanding was over, and her new life had just begun.